does something. And I forgot to record this class. Well, anybody have any other questions? Cease, how you doing?
Oh, I'm way behind everybody else. So I'm
She's
just
painting.
absorbing. Just
Okay, well,
absorbing.
that's okay. That's all right. It's all good. And honestly, Kim, if you have problem doing this short and long and you need help with it, just bring it in.
All right, yeah, I will. I would
yeah.
have come in today, but I haven't been feeling well. The other thing that I wanted to say about the Byzantine stitch, I ended up going over 2 holes or 3 intersections instead of 1. And I found that the compensating was so simple to do it that way. And because then you didn't have to get into any little half stitches. And I liked the way that it looked, because it, to me, going over 2 was very similar to the rest of the body.
I like that too. And that's the beauty of this piece. It gives you the freedom to do that because the spaces are big enough.
Right.
So, so yeah, I mean, I think that I cannot wait to see these when they're finished, and whether you're sending them to me to be finished or not, I still want to see them. I know several of you are out of state, but please do send me a picture. I think y'all have the email. Some of you have my cell phone. I think my cell phone was on one of the emails. And if you need anything, let me know. I know some people have run out of thread based on.
I ran out of thread.
Yours is on the way.
Yeah.
yours
We're
is
coming the
so-
28th for 10 days. So
Are you really?
yeah, so I'm one of my goals is to finish this by the 28th. But
Okay.
it may be close. I've done everything but the background and the hair. It's really
Oh,
fun
you'll be
to do.
done. You'll be done. And do as much as the background as you want to. It's really going to depend on what you want to do with it. If you have it framed or you're making it into a pillow, you do lose 2 rows on all sides. But I still think you have plenty of room in there. I think what mine's going to be is an inset pillow. And now I can send it off to the finisher. So
Michelle, I do have one other question for you.
Yeah.
You had
Mhm.
said on the background that you counted up 5 rows, but yet when I look at your picture, I feel like it's almost all the way to the top.
it's okay. So on the top, I didn't do from the tape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I started at row 12. And on
From
the
the tail
bottom-
up or from the tape down?
From the tail, oh no, from the tail up, hold on, it's 5 rows.
It is.
Yeah.
And you think
mhm.
that's enough for a pillow border?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And especially since I know who I'm sending it to.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, she doesn't need any extra rows. Most of you will send it to, if you're getting it done as a pillow, go to somebody else. And it's a price factor. Like I can tell you that the price of mine will be pretty hefty.
like what?
Like $400 to $500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, to make
But-
this into a pillow?
To the person I'm sending it to.
Ah.
So the other pillow, most pillows are going to be about $2 to $225, but she will be expensive.
Because of the finishing, because of the what you're gonna use like for cording and fabric?
Yeah, and she'll yes,
So
exactly.
will
Some of
you
the-
add anything to the background? Or will that be the finished pillow? Were you gonna add
I'm
another?
probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do it as an inset. So
Okay.
she'll put fabric here. So
She
just
will,
to make it
okay.
a little bit bigger. And then and she did a tooth fairy pillow for me. Hi Sandra. She did a tooth fairy pillow for me that had 4 different fabrics on it.
Oh, my goodness.
Whoa.
It's gorgeous. And like I didn't want to give it to the grandchild.
No.
All right.
I imagine that grandchild would be in big trouble if anything happened to it.
Well, the grandchild is just still getting teeth. So I I believe the mother has left it in plastic and it's up on a special shelf. But it was well worth it. And so, and knowing how she operates, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I mean, I don't do enough stuff for myself that, you know, you can do it. Sandra, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. I had a doctor's appointment this morning and I thought I could use Wi-Fi, cellular data, but they didn't have enough service there. But no, I finished everything but the hair and she's adorable.
Everybody's
Oh, I can't
waiting.
wait to see it.
Everybody's waiting on the hair.
I'm panicked about the hair.
Me too.
Okay, so let me go over the hair one more time. All right.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing you can do wrong with the hair. Okay. It's just
Trust me.
putting in those first couple of stitches and you can go as long as and short as you want to be. There'll be volume on the hair as you're building it. So don't even worry about the colors, right? Just start with one color, go take it in random directions, add another color, take it in random directions. You might end up coming, and I start darker to lightest, but what you're gonna end up doing is taking some of that dark and feeding it through. And I was telling the girls that also what I did is I split between a couple of threads when I was doing my short and longs. I love short and longs, but that's just my personality. And I understand how it can be panic strike. I know how it can cause panic. But there's nothing wrong you can do with it because it is so random.
It's great for Santa's beards.
It's
It's an easy-
wonderful.
Yeah. I
Easy
did it for
Santa
Santa. We did it
beard.
for Santa's beard.
So if you
That's right.
start at where her, I don't know if you can see this. Wait a minute, let me go this way. If you start at the crest of her head and you put a stitch in that way and you come out this way and you just go down and you just take the stitch and go like that. And you will use the same hole a few times. But
Okay,
don't just go for it.
okay.
And once you go
So you
for it, you're
you
gonna
s-
like, go ahead.
So you start at the head, not at the end.
Yeah, I would start at the
Okay.
head and
Okay,
bring it
okay.
out towards the end.
Okay,
Okay. And don't worry about your colors that you pick up. And you know what? Some people will just line up their colors and just pick one at random. You
Okay.
know, and that's okay too, because there's literally nothing you can do wrong.
okay.
Okay. There's no drill sergeant out there to tell you that you're doing anything wrong either.
Okay. She's
Yeah.
real cute right now. I'm afraid I'm gonna make her ugly.
No,
I
can't do
feel the
it.
same way.
Can't do it.
And you did that, you did the hair before the background, right? The background was your last
I
thing you
did. The background was the last thing I did.
Okay.
Now, see, I've done the background around the hair.
I
And
know.
that's
then
okay.
That's gonna be the last thing I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to have room to know how far I would go with the stitches, the random.
Yeah. And you
Kathy,
can
did
I
you
go-
like
take
doing that
one-
random.
Did you take one long stitch? Like, I guess in my background, I'm also, Michelle, you had said you took a stitch from here to here, which is fine. What do
Mhm.
you do in here?
Let me see who it is.
Like, what do you do with
Um,
the stitches from here to here? Do you bring them along the back, or do you do short stitches here and then short stitches here?
It depended on where it was. If I didn't have enough space, like, if I didn't have enough space from a certain place, I would, if I knew that, okay.
Can you
this
lift
was-
it up a hair?
Oh,
Okay.
In a couple of places, I dragged the string across, I dragged the thread across, but for the most part, I just started a new row. Like this
So
is
would
my
you
back.
would you like here just go this way, or,
Mhm.
you know, or would you still continue? I guess
For the most
I mean-
part, I just went this, I just went here. As long as I had these lined up here, I was good.
okay, and then you took and then in through the body, you took stitches this way.
Right.
And then
the
what did you do
smaller
with the
pieces-
tails in the back?
Well, the smaller pieces in the tail, I did go straight across in the
Okay.
smaller areas. And I just took it and because it was so small, but I didn't want to pull a thread all the way across her body.
Right.
So, but there are places where I did pull a thread all the way across.
I'm glad to see your back because the one thing I haven't liked about this is my back. People usually say, oh my gosh, your back is so neat, but this one is not. They're,
No, because you have the darning stitch makes it really hard to do that.
yeah,
And the other part that will make it really hard to do that is those long and short stitches. So, but
so don't worry about the back.
Don't worry about the back. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Well, somebody made the mistake of telling me a needlepoint store I use in Rock Hill that my back of my needlepoints were so beautiful. You could almost turn them around and make them the front. So now I'm so conscious of it that I don't want to make the back messy. And this back is really messy, but
You know,
Use a different store.
yeah.
Kathy, this is Pam, who's not showing up today. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you, we're probably similar in age and we've probably been stitching for a while. And when we were first taught, that was drilled in us that the
Yeah.
back had to be neat. And
Yeah.
it's been hard to let go of some of this stuff.
Very
Thank God
hard.
Michelle has helped me a lot about just letting some of this stuff go. For example, I have accidentally switched 2 colors on this mermaid. So she doesn't go nicely from light to dark. And I didn't discover it till I was at the tail and I said, to heck with it. I'm not redoing all this. It looks just fine. So I think those of us who are older just have to let go of some of those rules that were really crammed into us.
I'm trying not to be so much of a perfectionist because
Yeah,
I want to
it's
have
hard.
fun with it.
It is hard.
That's the whole thing is it's all about having fun, right? It's supposed to be relaxing. It's not supposed to be,
Yeah.
it's not
And
supposed to be an anxiety attack, and I mean, if you watch me knit, it's like watching somebody having an anxiety attack. All right, which is why I don't knit. But this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that brings you joy. And and some pieces will come out. Everything is going to be different. And some pieces you're going to absolutely love, and some are going to be like, what the heck did I do there? And you learn from it. You learn from everything you do, whether you take one little piece and you learn from it, or whether you learn from a whole thing. And every time you have a new teacher, you learn from it. You learn something new. You may not absorb it all in one shot, but you learn. And that's the beauty. And I'm going to tell you that when I first started doing this, what's it been, 5.5 years ago when I started stitching, my first couple of projects were basket weave, but once I found decorative stitches, the lights went on and the halo happened and I had epiphanies and I'm like, this is so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. But there are still so many stitches out there that I struggle with. And everybody's at a different level and everybody does things differently and everybody's got different comforts. And that's great because everybody does, it's your project. It's not mine. And I try to emphasize that as much as I can, because that's the beauty of this. It's like we all have the same canvas. And even though the canvas is painted, it's the threads and the stitches that bring it to life. That's what creates our masterpiece. So if yours is different from what is shown, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all good.
Okay, based on what you said, can I ask you a question?
Or see.
I guess the line of demarcation or whatever we want to call it between the hair and the head just kind of bothers me. If I brought some of the hair, I've already done her green head. If I brought some of the hair into that green, do you think that would be a big issue?
No. I don't think so.
I didn't know if I could go back and
can.
stitch over the green.
Well, especially if you're going to stitch over the green with the long and shorts, you absolutely
Right.
can.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
You were always a rebel.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I do. This is Penny. I've got two questions. One's for Kim. When you did the Byzantine stitch, how many stitches did you do?
Well, that was for
Do
me.
you mean how?
Oh,
I did, I think mine is double of what Michelle's is. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I went over 2.
Yeah,
holes.
yours is doubled.
I went over 2 holes or 3 intersections, I guess. And when I started it, and I just found, I did it a lot for sanity. Plus I put a stitch in between here and I put a sparkle in between here. So I liked that they all sort of were the same width.
Okay.
That makes
Mhm.
sense. And when I started, and man, did I have a heck of a time getting going on that stitch, almost to the point where I gave it up. I'm trying to see how I can do this. I started it this way. So I literally had my canvas, which was pretty awkward, to try and get this first line in. And then I went down from here. And then when it came time to do this, I turned my canvas upside down and finished it that way. I just found for me that worked better. But
That makes sense.
so I went over 2, and like I said, going over 2, the compensation stitches are a piece of cake.
I did the same thing. I went over 2, but I did
Did ya?
6 down, 6 over, 6 down, 6 over. But Kristen was the one, I was doing a canvas I bought from you that was cacti in pots. And I
Okay.
said to Kristen, I just got it back when I was in Hilton Head in the fall and gave it to my daughter for Christmas. But Kristen said, why don't you do, because I wanted something different for the pots. Everything looked so
Mhm.
much the same. Kristen said, why don't you do the Byzantine, but do 3 different lengths, like one's 2 over, 3 down, one's 4 over, 3 down,
Oh,
one's
that's a
6
good
over. So each pot was Byzantine, but it wasn't all the same. And that really made it look great. And it also taught me how to do that stitch, because I had to do 3 different varieties. It was like a sampler of that stitch.
Mhm.
And it
It's
was fun.
amazing. It's amazing how you can take one stitch and you can change the direction of it or change the number of intersections you go over and how
Right.
completely different it will be. And if anybody's done a lot of florals, I do that when I have a floral. I'll choose 2 or 3 stitches and I'll just change the direction of the stitch. And like a mosaic, I'll use a mosaic and for an instance, and I will go vertical, I will go horizontal, and I will go diagonal towards the right and diagonal towards the left. And it makes the petals move. So it's the same stitch, just going in a different direction.
You have come a long way in 5.5 years. I've been doing
I was
this
thinking the
for
same
yeah.
thing.
40 years.
Yep.
And I don't know. I have to ask you for stitch suggestions. I mean, you are
Well,
amazing.
we all see it differently, right? We all see color different. We all see a project different. And when I'm doing something for myself, I'm seeing it very differently than if somebody was giving me the stitches. So it's actually been, and I love doing florals for that reason. I mean, I loved being able to move it, but that was something that I learned was just changing the direction will help you, change the flow of things, especially when you want something to move. So Penny, you had another question, hun.
I do. What did you do with your ends on the background?
I just took them all the way out to the end.
And then you didn't tie them off or anything like
I
that?
didn't tie them off. I didn't tie them off at all. Because I'm going to lose them anyway.
Okay.
All right. So I just didn't even bother.
Now, will you still put like a finishing stitch or whatever it's called?
I don't
over 'em?
need to. No, not for I mean, it's just know wherever you go out to, you're going to lose 2 rows for the most part when they do
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Do a pillow. Okay, so if you take it all the way to the end, it's no big deal. You're gonna lose those, and it just makes it easier for you. And all I did was bring the fringe up. So, I don't know if the finisher loves to see
okay.
me coming or hates to see me coming, but that's all I did.
So do you not have to worry about the stitches coming out?
Nope. Mm-mm,
Okay.
mm-mm. No. Not at all. Anybody else?
That's because you were so good at getting one long piece of thread and having it end there.
Well, yeah. And that's really what I did is I had one long piece of thread, then getting it all the way to the end.
I'm wondering if you could, because I struggled a little bit. I just ripped mine out because I'm going to do a few more stitches like Kathy did. But I'm wondering if you could not, if you're going to the very end, if you could not, when you start, because I had a hard time with it not being knotted, holding my finger to make sure that it wasn't coming out as I moved along, and maybe knot the one end and then leave the other end loose. Would that be all right?
Can. That would be absolutely can. And you can cheat.
Because
And
it
I
would
should have
also hold the
done this.
strands together better.
Right. You can cheat and actually put your knot underneath.
Oh,
Yeah, I do that.
You're not supposed to, but you can.
yeah. Because I had a hard time with the accentuate sometimes coming out, and I thought if it was maybe knotted, it would be at
Yeah.
least be secure for me to pull it all the way through.
Yeah, I will knot it. I did knot it on the beginning. I did knot it at the beginning for the most part. Yes, I knotted it at the beginning and I
Oh,
did
you
it
did.
underneath. Yeah. And I did not
And then you
knot
put it underneath.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I put the knot underneath.
Well, it's
Okay,
been fun.
anybody else?
It's a fun canvas.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It is. It was fun.
I have enjoyed I enjoyed the different stitches and the colors are beautiful when they're all
Oh, they
together.
really are.
When they're all together, they really are. So,
I have
send
no
me
idea where I'm gonna put it, but
that's all right. You have no idea where we're gonna put half the stuff
You
we
know,
do.
when I was struggling with the background, it went through my head, maybe we could do this as a 3D and I don't have to do as much background and I can just put it on a little stand somewhere. So
that's a good
we'll see
thought.
as the background
yeah.
progresses, but I guess it was Sandra with the hair. Sandra, I want you to know that after listening to Michelle, I have filled the first 3 colors in my hair. So the hair is on its way to getting done and you will find it really is easier. So go for it.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I will. I will. I'm just so afraid I'm gonna make her ugly.
No,
But I'm gonna
No,
trust
you
in
won't.
I'm gonna trust in it.
Yeah,
it
that's,
really
I mean,
does work. Lay
Yeah.
those long stitches in and you will start feeling better immediately.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
Now that I know where to start, I think that's gonna help me a lot.
Yep.
And you don't start and go all the way to the end of the hair with each one. You just build it as you go.
build it.
Right?
I build it as I go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody
right,
have
well,
any other
thank you.
questions? Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. And
Thank
I
you
want to
very
see
much.
these when
It's
they're
been
done.
great.
I'm glad.
I'm
I
gonna
wanna
take
see
a
when they're
picture
done.
for you and send it.
Perfect. And I'll send them in the email.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
that would be great.
Great.
Thanks,
That'd be
Kathy.
wonderful.
So you can see
Thank you,
this
lady.
different workbound or background.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank
bye.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Nice to
Bye.
meet everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.